Welcome to the fourth Monday, regular meeting of Surf City Tea. At this time, I'd like to call on our Sergeant at Arms, Roy Arnold. And tonight, we're going to have the invocation and pledge led by Margaret Arnold. Margaret, would you all please rise?
Okay. All right, let's do the pledge to the flag. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll remain standing till we pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity and the privilege and the freedom of still being able to gather in this manner. We thank you, Lord, for your many blessings that you bestow upon us each and every day. We're facing some critical issues in cities, states, and nationally, some very serious issues, and we just pray, Lord, that you will be with each and every candidate, whatever office they're running for around the country, that they will see the need to be honest and forthright in what they believe and what their intentions are. And we pray for the politicians that they too will put the United States Constitution first and our freedoms first, and that we will become a better nation. And now be with the candidates that are here to share with us. Be with each of us and help us to ask the questions that need to be asked. It is our responsibility to be educated and informed about people who are running for office. And we just ask that it will be clear to us for whom we should vote. Now be with us, bless everything that is said and done this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Just a couple of items of business. I'm going to send around 2 clipboards, and for those of you that are paid members, you don't need to sign this. We just would like to get the folks that are here who are not paid members. So Bill, if you'd send this down that side. As you know, we are here to hear candidates for the Board of Education and the City Council. And before we do that, I'd like to call on a couple of volunteers with other aspects of the work that we do. First, I'd like to call in Richard Moore, who is the chair of Hunting Beach Precinct Patrons.
Well, thank you. I haven't done anything yet. Hey, good evening, everyone. Just a quick moment. Again, my name is Richard Moore, and I'm the city chair for the Huntington Beach Precinct Patriot Organization. And you received our little door hanger on your chairs this evening. If you haven't heard about us, please take a look at us, read the door hanger, go to our website and all that. What we're trying to do is rebuild the precinct organization, grassroots precinct organization here in the city, because it's kind of atrophied in the last few years, so that we can become an ongoing positive voice in the city, both to support candidates, to support or battle against initiatives that are on the ballot, and to do other things within our city. Like if you were watching TV last Monday, you saw a bunch of us down there trying to persuade the city council to do the right thing on plastic bags, which they didn't, but at least they know we exist now. Our next meeting is this coming Wednesday. We have ongoing Wednesday meetings. Every Wednesday at 6:30 on Brookhurst, right between Turner's Outdoorsman and the archery store. So it's halfway down Brookhurst. It's real easy to find on the left-hand side as you're heading south. So I invite any of you to come out if you want to learn more, join the organization, and join the battle. Thank you very much.
We also have an important race for governor this year. We have 2 volunteers who are actively working on behalf of Tim Donnelly, And Carrie Swan spoke last night. I'm going to call Carol Woodworth to just say a couple of words about how that race for governor is going. Carol Woodworth.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you've all heard the name Tim Donnelly. Anybody not heard of Tim Donnelly? That's a good sign that there's not very many of you. You know he's running for governor. He's the only conservative in the race. June 3rd primary is an incredibly important primary for us. I'm sorry, I'm standing in front of you. In case you were wondering how he's doing in the polls right now have Jerry Brown at 53%, Tim Donnelly's at about 18%, and the nearest competitor to Tim is at 5%. So if you're wondering if he has a shot at getting the top two in the primary, he actually has a pretty good shot. Primary voter turnout is generally very, very low. So to the extent that we get more conservatives out to vote than we get Democrats out to vote, he has a real good shot at the number 2 spot. So if you're interested in any campaign literature or any other information about him, please see me after the meeting, and thanks for your support.
In a few minutes, I'm going to be passing out some white slips. So those of you that want to ask a question of the city council candidates, to fill them out and pass them out. And then I'd like to have the same question go to all three who are here tonight. I'll collect those after we finish with our first speaker, who's running for the Orange County Board of Education. I really didn't know what the Orange County Board of Education did until a few weeks ago. And some of you may also not know about it. But it's an important body. It acts as an appeal body for the other school districts in the county. But most importantly, they vote on whether or not to permit charter schools. By comparison, LA County, that has twice our population, has about 1,000 charter schools. We have 14. The current majority of the Board of Education acts at the behest of the teachers' unions, and they have not been approving charter school applications. This would provide more choice to folks, particularly folks who happen to live in impacted lower-income areas. So our first candidate tonight is largely running because he'd like to make a difference. And so I'm sure he'll tell us about who he is and why he's running. I'd like to introduce Mr. Tom Pollitt.
Thank you, Ron, and thank you for coming tonight, for being interested in who the people are that are running and going to be representing you in the future race. Why am I running? Well, first of all, my name is Tom Pollitt, and I'm running for the Orange County Board of Education. My election is June 3rd. These guys are all November elections. So I either go home June 4th, or I go to work for you guys, but it's over June 3rd. So I encourage you to get involved as much as you can in these 39 days. Why am I running? Well, Ron's heard me talk before, and he just gave you half my speech, but I'm running because of the charter schools. That's one of the reasons that I got involved in the first place. The other one is Common Core. As Ron mentioned, his numbers were a little off, but there are over 300 charter schools in LA County. San Diego County has over 200 charter schools, and Orange County has 14. And we're not sure if it's the unions, or if it's the staff, or what's causing that, or just the people that are your elected officials don't care. But the parents and the children and the teachers in those areas where you have underperforming schools are not getting a choice. We have almost 100 schools in Orange County that are underperforming. And that was the purpose of the charter schools, to be able to go in there and give those parents choice. The other reason that I'm running is Common Core. And that was actually the reason I got involved going to the school board meetings. we had two school board members, Ken Williams and Robert Hammond, who had indicated that they did not like Common Core and they were opposed to it. So I thought a bunch of us would, and Gloria Prime, many of you know Gloria, and her team, and myself, and some of the people from the Newport Mesa Tea Party went down, and we spoke at the board meetings, and we tried to tell them about the problems with Common Core and why we didn't think it was good for our children. And basically, the majority of the other three people on the board just listened to us and then made up their own mind. The Common Core was fine, it was the state law, and they weren't going to do anything about it. So at that point, I kept going to the board meetings and learning more about it. And then just prior to the election deadline, I decided to run. Many of you know the problems of Common Core, but I'll just let you know a couple that I'm most concerned about. One, it's a federal program. The federal government passed it as part of the stimulus bill. And it was in there, it was in the $1 trillion stimulus bill. So if you ask your congressman, I asked Daniel Rohrabacher why he voted for it, and he said he didn't even know it was in there. It was one of those things that was in a large bill that they didn't even know about. So it was passed, and then every state that took stimulus money had to take Common Core. So it was, they didn't have any choice. It wasn't voted on at the state level. It really wasn't voted on at the federal level. It was just passed to us. And so that just took away all the local control that we have. One of the things that I found out Friday night at a Common Core meeting, they had a couple of speakers from out of town, was that the standards that California has for education are some of the top standards in the country. Massachusetts and California have some of the highest standards. And Common Core actually dumps down those standards. It's a way of making the standards for the kids less than what they had been. The other issue that I see right away is the privacy issue. We're looking at electronic tests. We're looking at a situation where all the tests are going to follow the kids for the rest of their life. But that's not the problem. The problem is they start asking personal questions. And those personal questions are going to follow the kids not only to college, but into their work history. So there's some privacy issues. There's just a number of issues, and I like to say, everybody knows that Obamacare, there was good reasons for Obamacare. One, we wanted to insure all the uninsurables, and two, we wanted all the people that didn't have insurance to have access to it, and all the good reasons. But when we started getting into the implementation and peeling back that onion, it started to really get smelly. And I think that's what we're going to find out with Common Core. And so you need a representative on the board that will stand up and will fight for your children and the local community. Children are our most important asset as far as I'm concerned. We need to do everything in our power to provide our children with the education and the support and the tools they need to survive in the 21st century. It's getting tougher and tougher. Competition from all over the world. The other countries are spending 50, 60, 70 hours. Kids are going to school 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and they're learning the material. So we've got a lot of competition ahead of us for our children. Our teachers, you know, we have some of the hardest, fine-working, dedicated teachers around. There's a lot of good teachers out there, but we're not giving them the support. A lot of the money, a lot of your taxpayer money is going into administration and other things rather than into the classroom. And that's one of the primary things that I'm running on, is getting that money allocated to the classroom. And I think we're going to have an opportunity there because legislation was passed, AB 97, that allows for local funding. So the local school districts will be able to say, if we need extra teachers for English as a second language, we've got it there. If we need extra teachers for math and science and those items, we've got the money to allocate there. So we're going to be able to determine what our local needs are, at least from a funding point of view. Most of you know AB 1266, the bathroom bill. That's got to be implemented in the school districts. And I'm totally opposed to the concept of having little boys in the locker rooms with girls. So I see that as a big problem, and that's one of the things that the current board just said, hey, it's the law, we got to live with it. Who am I a little bit? About 4 years ago, I started the Costa Mesa Tea Party. 5 or 6 of my neighbors came over one Sunday afternoon, and we were upset with the results that we had in 2010. And that turned out to monthly meetings, and we've had now monthly meetings just about as long as you guys have, for about 4 years, trying to inform the public, having candidates come in and talk to us about the issues so that we can be better informed. I've also been involved with Unite OC, which has put on a boot camp training program. Richard Moore was very instrumental in putting that together. He teaches part of the class, and it's, again, to prepare conservative candidates to run and to do a good job. It's a 3-part course. The Constitution class is taught, part 1. There's a Toastmasters club. A number of the people here in this room are in that, where we learn how to articulate our ideas in a good manner. And the 3rd part is the actual how-to, the boot camp. I've been fortunate enough to be endorsed by the Orange County Register. I don't know if you guys read your newspaper Friday, but they, yeah, surprise. No, I went through about a 45-minute interview. My candidate also was interviewed, and they apparently liked what I had to say in my background and so on. So I've got the Orange County Register's endorsement. I've got the Family Action PAC's endorsement. I have the Orange County GOP endorsement. I have the California Republican Association, the Orange County section, their endorsement. Dana Robacher has endorsed me. Michelle Steele has endorsed me, and John Morlock has endorsed me. A number of the mayors have endorsed me, including Matt Harper, who's endorsed me. I'm going to open it up in a second to some questions. I'm sure I'm going to get a couple questions about Common Core. But I wanted everybody to know this Saturday, May 3rd, we're going to have Dana Robacher, Robert Hammond, one of the trustees on the Orange County Board of Education, and myself. It's actually a fundraiser for me. But the purpose is to talk about Common Core. We're having a number of people that are active, that are opposed to Common Core, are going to be there, and it's going to be an opportunity for us to talk to Dana about what we can do. This is a big problem. It's got to start. We got to work at it at the local level as well as the state level and the federal level, and we need to start being informed about what we need to do. And so anyway, that's this Saturday at 6 o'clock at home in Costa Mesa. Nope, they changed the time. It'll be 7 o'clock. And there's some flyers. I'll just leave them up here. If you want one, I'll pass it out to you. But that's one way you can get involved, not only in supporting me, but in the Common Core exercise that we're going through. I brought some signs. I don't have any signs in Huntington Beach. Maybe 1 or 2. I think, Pat, you've got a sign out in front of your place. So anyway, we need to get more signs out. We need to let people know about it. So if you could take a sign, that would be great. But most important, if you like what I said tonight and and want some change in the education system, talk to your neighbors, the one on each side and the one across the street, and let them know that Tom Pollitt is running for the Board of Education. So with that, you want to take a couple questions? Do we have time? I don't want to do my time.
We can take 10, 15 minutes. If there are any questions.
Richard.
Tom, thank you. I think everyone learned a little lot more about you and about what you stand for. My question is on the charter schools, which I think is so important to open up opportunities for a lot of people here. Can the board really move ahead with that? Do you think that there'll be enough votes to start to approve those, or what kind of hurdles you foresee there?
Yeah, both Ken Williams and Robert Hammond, who both have endorsed me, have indicated that they want charter schools. So that's Linda Lindholm, for those of you that have friends in South Orange County. She's running District 5, so she's pretty much aligned with the three of us. So hopefully we're going to have a 4-to-1 advantage on the charter schools. If the local district, if you're a charter school, you apply at the local district level, and if they don't approve it, then it goes to the county level for appeal or review. And right now, the county has declined 8 out of the last 9. I've talked to some charter schools, and they say they're not going to waste the time or money applying in Orange County because they know they won't get approved. So it's an environment out there, it's an attitude out there that's been negative to charter schools, and we're going to change that. You're going to change that if you let me. Does that answer your, okay, thank you.
Are charter schools going to be restricted by Common Core, or can they write their own curriculum?
That's a good question. Charter schools are nonprofit organizations, privately run, but they're funded with taxpayer dollars. So your taxpayer dollars goes to fund them, and they have to follow all the rules, all the regulations, all the laws of the state of California, which includes Common Core. And to take it one step further, your private schools, your Catholic and other Christian, other private schools, many of them have already indicated that they're going to go with Common Core. They'll all tell you, and I've heard it a million times, that well, we're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to do it better. It's not going to be the way everybody else is doing it. Well, Common Core is a product, just like Chevrolet is a product. And in that product, it's a licensing agreement, so you're agreeing to their licensing agreement and the material. And you have to, in the agreement, it says you have to use 85% of the material that's in there. So this is a federal program, there's no doubt about it. That one size fits all, it goes around. And the SAT has already said that they're going to change their tests to comply with Common Core. So it's a Bill Gates and the other businessmen, there's a ton of money in this thing. I mean, did you see the millions of dollars they spent on iPads in LA County? You know, there's money in this thing. And that's why it's happening, because the businesses have gotten it. That's enough.
Question.
Oh, question.
I understand that Mr. Boyd, the current incumbent in District 2, is an attorney. He's been running the Taft University for 25 years. He obviously has a tremendous background in education. Why the heck should the people in this room vote for you?
Well, as nice a guy as David Boyd is, he has a very difficult time making a decision. He abstained on the last charter school vote and didn't make a vote. And he's just ridden the fence for the last 9 months that I've watched him, that's for sure.
I'm a teacher, and what is your definition of Common Core? I mean, how would you, what would you do, how would you do, what would your answer be to that?
Definition, it's the law, is that what you want me to say?
No.
Is it,
As far as
it's an education program, it's a standard that's been passed and now we have to follow?
I mean, are there standards like in social studies, I mean, as far as?
They, it's in math and English right now, are the two that they're implementing. It'll probably go into history and science and the others later on. But just to give you an idea, another thing I learned Friday night, and you know, if you talk to the teachers and the principals, you'll get a little bit different story, but in Common Core, it stops at trig. You know, Common Core doesn't have anything in trig or pre-calculus or any of those classes. And the idea is that your senior or junior in high school goes to the community college to take those classes. And, you know, I asked the principal at one of the Costa Mesa schools that I know pretty well, I said, what are you guys doing? I said, oh, we still have those classes. And I said, are you going to be able to keep them? I think so. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, if when they implement Common Core in total, See, they're not preparing the kids for these advanced classes, so they probably won't have them. Yes. The ladies first, I'm sorry.
Sorry. There are some who said that the Common Core standards were developed outside of the purview of the parents, and that was done on purpose in order to make parents irrelevant. And as it's been being implemented, more and more parents are seeing that they're unable to help their children with their education anymore. How do you feel about that?
Well, the best person that can educate their children are the parents. They're not only the examples, but they're the spiritual and foundational teacher to the kids. So yeah, it's totally wrong. But we have an awful lot of people out there that think it takes a village and takes the community to do it right. And unfortunately, that's the climate we live in. Yes, sir.
You mentioned that there's 5 members of the board, 2, Rich Hammond and Williams, would support the charter school, and the other 3, what names are they?
David Boyd is my opponent. Liz Parker, she's been on the board for 32 years, believe it or not, is Linda Lindholm's opponent. And the other gentleman, Jack, is not running. So there's only 2 open positions this time around.
Okay, and you're in, what district are you in?
District 2, yeah. That's
And-
Costa Mesa, Huntington Beach, Seal Beach, Sunset Beach, up to Cypress, La Palma area, parts of Fountain Valley, parts of Garden Grove.
Okay, so the only one we got to worry about is Boyd versus you, right?
That's correct. And if you got your ballots today and looked at them, I'm at the bottom, he's at the top of the school. So you got to get past the first name.
I was just going to say that I went to a Common Core meeting at my grandkids' school, and one of the things that the principal said, which really bothered me, is that, well, the curriculum for Common Core is not yet complete. And I thought, that's just like Obamacare. You know, they pass these things, we have to pass them so we can find out what's in them, and we know what a devastating thing that's turned out to be. But it's the same with the Common Core. They haven't even written the curriculum. How can they put it into practice without even having it written?
Yeah, we have one teacher here, and I think you'll agree with me that nobody liked No Child Left Behind. All the teachers and administrators thought that was the worst thing in the world. Just like all the doctors and hospitals didn't like the insurance companies, right? So anything had to be better than the insurance companies. Anything had to be better than No Child Left Behind. And that's unfortunate that those kind of things happen, but that's why we got what we got. Yes, sir.
More just a tidbit I read yesterday that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation started a company called InBloom, which was the data collection arm for Common Core. $100 million, just closed its doors yesterday. So fighting this is working.
Yeah. That's good news. There was another question? Yes, sir.
Yeah, why are charter schools better, more efficient, and why do they work so well compared to public schools?
Some of them don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's good ones and bad ones.
Oh,
It's part of our job is to make sure that they're financially strong, that they have good management, good leadership.
well, who's against them, actually? I mean, teachers union.
Well, the union doesn't particularly want the competition.
Okay.
That's one of the, I mean, the unions beat, 20 years ago, beat vouchers down to the point where some states, I guess, are starting vouchers, but we don't have them here. And this is just another way of giving the kids a choice, is charter
Wouldn't
schools.
the charter schools employ union?
The charter schools can employ union, but not a lot of them, not all of them do. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I'm just, okay, thank you.
One of the things that the candidates don't talk about is money. I happen to know that Tom's budget is at least $50,000. $50,000 to get name recognition. Think about the area. for the number of voters, it probably comes out to less than $1 per voter. But if you don't have the money to buy the signs, you're not going to get this name recognition. And I'm sure that our next group of candidates are also thinking in terms of tens of thousands in order to get the name recognition. So part of what's going on here tonight is we need to have you think about coming out and actually work for the campaign, or go to the precinct Patriot headquarters and work there to try to get folks to sign up, be sure to vote. But last and probably most important, it does require writing out a check. So the expression "freedom isn't free," that's what it really means. Okay, and now this time, do you want more? Go ahead.
If you go to tompollitt.com, you can go to my website and find out more about me. You can also, that's a good place to donate if you're so inclined, but really find out about me. The other thing is we're gonna start a phone bank May 5th, trying to call all the people that have mail-in ballots. So if you'd like to make some phone calls, you can either come down to where we're going to be doing it, or we'll give you some names to call, and you can do that in your home. So anyway, go to tompollitt.com and you can apply.
Boy, this is strange. I mean, we were right on time. I think this is the first time since I've been president. Well, that's great, because now it will allow more time for questions for the candidates. I'm going to ask each one of them to tell us who they are and why we should vote for them. And then when the three of them are finished, I'll have you pass the questions forward, and we'll ask them of the candidates. And we're going to go up to about 8:20, 8:15. Okay, we're going to go 8:15, right about in there, to wrap it up. And we will have a prize award. We're going to have a prize award tonight. And also, I want to remind the leadership team, I'd like to have you all, if you can, stay at 8:30 for a very short business meeting. So with that, I think we're going to go in alphabetical order. And I'm going to call our first speaker tonight, Barbara Del Glaze.
Good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure to see so many people out here this evening. And I know there's been a lot of interest in the last couple of weeks of what's going on. But I'd like to give you a little bit of background about me. I came to Huntington Beach in 1974. My husband and I moved from a rental, and one of those turned weekly rentals, so our rent changed dramatically. Anyway, we luckily got a place here in Huntington Beach, and I've raised my daughter here since 1974. I'm a real estate broker by profession, and many of you probably know realtors get to work with a lot of people. And I get to see homes, and I get to see infrastructure, and I get to know how cities are doing. And I was invited to participate about 12 years ago as a business woman and a representative of the Orange County Association of Realtors to serve on the Huntington Beach Infrastructure Committee. And I want you to know that it was a very serious commitment, 2 years, once a month. And I will tell you, I learned way more than I ever wanted to know, because if you know, as being a realtor, we have to disclose what we know, right? I got to see the inside of some of our sewers, which are over 100 years old in some places in the city, and our pumping stations, and I will tell you, the picture was very bleak. And that's really what started it for me. I thought, oh my goodness, here I am advocating for my city and my community every single day. And we've got some really serious problems. And we made a presentation to that council at the time for how much money we're going to need. And I think what happened is they took the program and put it over to this side. And I don't know that they opened it for quite a while. And something, I think a couple of years later, there was an issue at the local level, and a lot of us got involved. Some of you in this room may be independent contractors, but the city tried to pass a city license on, a business license on all the realtors in town, or people who are independent contractors. Well, we didn't think that was such a good idea. Again, another way to stop business in the community. I'm very passionate about this community. I love living in Huntington Beach. I have no intention of moving anywhere. So one thing led to another, and I will tell you, I've been representing the California Association of Realtors for the last 20 years as an advocate for private property rights. As a matter of fact, I leave Wednesday to go to Sacramento again. Gone for 20 years, and I've interacted with some of our legislators, and I'm passionately asking for the city of Huntington Beach often for things that we need in this community. So what happened is Don Hanson, as maybe some of you know, the outgoing mayor a year ago, and I was a supporter of his and was looking to get more involved. I've been a member of the chamber. I was fortunate to serve as the chair of the chamber in 2009. And I will tell you, in 2009, that was our centennial year. It was an awesome year to get involved in the city and just feel very grateful to be in this community. There was a lot of neat things that went on. But again, when you come back to things like what's available for our budgets, for our systems, for our roads, for our public safety, there's a lot of serious things our community is aging that we need to take care of. So I got involved and I served on the Planning Commission. I was on the Planning Commission for 4 years, and I also served as the chair. I will tell you, it was a very positive experience for me. I learned an awful lot. I got to serve with Eric, and we really, I think, made some very positive decisions for the city. So as an individual, I felt that I could bring some of my talents as a realtor. One of the things that you must be is collaborative in your business, or you don't get very far. If your clients aren't willing to work with the other people, you're not going to sell their home, right? So I feel the same way about negotiating things in the community. We have to bring common sense to our negotiations. I think we have to bring collaboration, and we just need to bring new vision. We are an aging community. We have a lot of seniors in our community. We need to keep our youth here, and we need to have them come because they want to be here and they love Surf City like all of us do. So that's a little background on me. I would love questions, certainly after all the other candidates have a chance to speak. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Billy O'Connell, and I'd like to give you some information tonight about me and why I'm running for City of Huntington Beach Council. I was born in New York and raised in Ireland. At 17 years of age, I came back to New York by myself with $300 in my pocket. I worked in construction, I worked in tunnels, I worked in high-rise buildings and paid my way through college. In 1998, I came to California, where I came to Huntington Beach, where I was a sheriff up in Los Angeles. I've always believed in giving back, and I also believe that we should leave something better behind for the people that come behind us. After several years in the LA County Sheriff's Department, I started an organization called Colette's Children's Home, where we take homeless women and children off the streets. Just last year, we celebrated taking over 3,000 homeless women and children off the streets. We're not a handout, we're a handout. We're about empowering people. In the last 2 years, we helped over 300 women find and retain work. What's very important to me in our city is public safety, our small business community, and our infrastructure. Now, I've been a victim of crime in our city. I know what it is to wake up at night and find somebody standing in your house. Just last St. Patrick's Day, my daughter came to me and she said, "Dad, I need to speak to you." I said, "What's going on?" She had received a text message from a friend of hers, but she didn't get it until the next day. This was a friend of hers that she hadn't seen in about a year and had lost contact with her. Anyway, to make a long story short, this young girl, 22 years of age, was found dead in a hotel from an overdose of heroin. Crime is on the rise in our city. The special units have been disbanded to try and deal with the problems that we have downtown. That's one of the reasons why I'm a big believer in public safety. I'm also a big believer in the small business community and the business community at large. They're the ones that bring the revenue into our city. They're the ones that create the revenue for our treasury. They're the ones that stimulate this economy, the backbone that affords good paying jobs for people to participate in the American dream. I also believe that our infrastructure needs to be worked on. I was the vice chair on the infrastructure committee, and I was also the acting chair. We have challenges. Our sewers are years old. You see potholes. We need a lot of things done in our city. I have a simple common sense approach. You don't spend more money than you take in. You try and attract business into our community. You make it easier for business to do business in our community. And I'm here to ask you to vote for Billy O'Connell. Get involved, and I appreciate what you're doing. Anybody that would like to speak to me afterwards, I'll be more than glad to speak. Thank you so much, and it's an honor to be here tonight.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Peterson, and I'm running for Huntington Beach City Council again. Okay. We still have problems here, and I want to retire here. I live here, I bought a home here, my kids are here, my business is here, and I want to retire in Huntington Beach. I don't want to retire in Santa Monica. I want to retire in Huntington Beach, and I don't want to have to move because of the urbanization of this city, which is happening right now. I think it's important for our city, really two functions are the two city functions we need to focus on. First, we need to do public safety, right? We have to provide public safety to our citizens. Second, we have to maintain our infrastructure and improve it. After that, we can start working on other city services, right? How do we do that? Business development, economic development. We bring those anchor companies in, those good companies with good jobs. The Hogue that we have right over here, a great addition to our community here. Building 4 floors above a 7-Eleven isn't bringing those good jobs. Right now we're going through a general plan update. All right, that's the blueprint for the next 30 years for this city. Everybody in this room should be involved in that. To tell them what type of city you want to live in. I don't mind the 50s and 60s tract neighborhoods. I like it. That's why I'm staying in Huntington Beach. I've lived here forever. I don't want Beach Boulevard to be apartments all the way down from Ettinger Corridor all the way to the beach. Now, right now we have a plan. It's a Beach Edge Corridor plan. It's saying put 4,000 more apartments down beach. Okay, that doesn't count what's up in Bellaterra right now. So, is that what you want to live in? Now, right now it's the plan. So developers, they can come in and go, okay, this is the plan. And being on the planning commission, we have to say, okay, you've met all the rules, go for it. Unless it's this over here, which didn't come through planning commission, that's all low-income housing right across the street here. So, but it met that plan. So if we don't like what we're seeing being built, I mean, the Beach Boulevard needs a facelift. I just think it's being lifted too high right now. So I'm running, 1, to get some sensible development, 2, help whoever, the Chamber of Commerce, our economic development people, whoever it is, to bring good, solid companies to Huntington Beach, ones that will provide jobs. We have on Beach and Ellis, we have the old hospital there. You know, why aren't we out talking to someone? Bring the hospital back. That's a lot of money. We don't need a Walgreens on every corner. We don't need an AT&T store on every corner. That doesn't supply the economic freedom that we need in this city. And all the development money that we're getting right now from all this, it's millions, multi-millions. It's one-time money. After that tax revenue, we get very little from tax. Most of it goes to the schools. We get a part of a percent. Okay, so, but high density actually taxes our city services. More police, more fire, more infrastructure. There's a lot more needed to support that type of development. We also have things right now where they're trying to annex the wetlands. I love the wetlands. I don't think we should develop on them. But do we need to pay for them? Do our taxes need to pay for that? Right now the county pays for it. There's absolutely no fiscal benefit. It's all a liability there. So there's decisions the current majority of council is making right now that I don't agree with, and I'm gonna just keep fighting. Thank you.
For those of you that still have questions, would you pass them to the inside aisle? And Mike, would you collect this second batch?
Okay.
While they're collecting those, may I ask Eric a question? What possible reason would we have as the city to annex the wetlands?
I'm not sure why they want to do it. I've heard that it completes the city. I don't know what that
Our general
means.
plan
Right.
requires us to...
No, it has nothing to do with the general plan. This is something that they've just wanted to do. Right now, the county pays for it. And my friend that actually lives in my neighborhood did the dredging for that. And he says either the county pays me or you pay me if there's a big storm, because it needs to be dredged. And I don't want to pay his rent. I want the county to pay his rent. So I don't really know what the reason is, besides the only thing I've heard is they want, it's sort of a complete, fill in the blank city.
I remember several years ago, though, Eric, I thought the city council was trying to give permits to a builder to build at the back end of it.
Yeah, my parents lived right on that wetland area. That's where I grew up. And I remember when they moved in, it was talk of like a deep water marina or something like that, but that's never going to happen, and I don't think it should. I mean, it's a gorgeous wetland. Let it be a place where people can walk and, enjoy it. I just don't think we need to pay for it.
Okay, I'd like to give our other two guests a chance to comment. Barbara, do you have a comment about that question?
My experience, I'm inclined to agree. Financially, we are at a point right now trying to do our infrastructure and our public safety to take on the responsibility of that would just be very expensive. So to Eric's point, when you have a storm or there's, even maintenance of the Bolsa Chica now is taken care of by nonprofits and the county. So for that burden to be put on us, I just think it would be, we would have a better place to spend our money now than there.
Well, I have a different view. Basically, I feel that we should try and protect that open space, and the best way to have that open space protected is to have it under the control of the city of Huntington Beach. I believe there's an added benefit to the city of Huntington Beach by having the Bolsa Chica. It's an educational opportunity for our young children to go and visit and see, and to preserve open space for our future generations.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to ask questions now, and I'm going to ask each guest to respond. And let's do it this way. You respond first.
Sure.
You respond first, and then we'll just
take turns.
Okay. This is from Carol Woodward. What are the three most important issues you will address if elected?
My first issue that I will address is there's a shortage of police officers in our community. Some of the special details are have been eliminated. Our narcotics task force in our city, I believe, is down to 1 or 2 men. That's unacceptable. Drugs are running rampant in our schools and in our streets, and it's destroying our kids. This needs to stop. We need to address that issue. Our small business community and our business community at large. There is so much regulation, and it's so tough to do business in our community. We have to streamline the process where it's easier for people to do business in our community. I know one small business downtown where they had over 100 inspections before they could open their door. That is totally unacceptable to me. I think we need to help small business grow in our community so it sustains our community overall. And my third would be our infrastructure. We need to deal with our infrastructure problems. And I believe I'm the person to make that happen.
I'm very passionate about getting our public safety in order. We have had numerous cuts over the last 7 or 8 years. Our force was really down. I was fortunate to go on a ride-along about 6 weeks ago. Today, we are in a new land and a new world with wireless technology. There's things that we could do better to supply our officers and our people who are on the front lines. In general, we just need to update things there. I would like to also express, I'm a small businesswoman, and I will tell you that the city of Huntington Beach was built on small business. We're fortunate that we have a Boeing here and a few other large companies to, really contribute to our community. But every time our city council makes a new regulation or votes something else in, for example, the styrofoam, they try to get that passed. Our restaurants struggle with that. And then what happens to them? We go to eat there, the prices go up. There's sort of this vicious cycle. And I would say at the end, my passion, this is how I got involved, is my infrastructure. The way to keep a community healthy and vibrant is we've got to take care of our streets. We've got to take care of our sidewalks. And one of the things over by where I live is the Winterbird Channel is being upgraded now. Folks, we are in a community that in some areas is below sea level. We must take care of our infrastructure. It's not a question of, when we will. We must do it now. It's old, and there are new ways, there's new technology out there that we can use in this community today to improve things. Thank you.
I think the biggest priority to me is the basics. Keeping them within budget, is on? Yeah, it's on. Within a budget that's sustainable. That's our public safety and our infrastructure. After that, we need to work on our economic development. We need to get tax revenue in here. We also need to get rid of a bunch of ordinances that, just overreaching ordinances. We don't need the city council telling us how to take our groceries home. We don't need them to come after us for someone lighting a sparkler in our front lawn. We just need to be reasonable. Let's take care of the city functions first, get business in here, make it a great place to live, and stay out of people's business.
Okay, Barbara, will you lead off on this next one? Are the police and fire in Huntington Beach overcompensated? Can you clarify your position on union pensions in Huntington Beach?
Well, some of you may know that I was very passionate in the last election. I did not prevail, but I'm very passionate about pensions. I went door to door, spoke over 4,000 residents here in the community, and the pensions were very much on the top of their minds. Why? Because it's going to bankrupt our city if we don't do something. All three of us up here, we've shared some of the things that we're interested in, we're very passionate about. If we don't rein those pensions in, it's not going to matter. And we've got a very serious issue to look at, not just pensions, but our police force, our fire force is aging. We have many of those people over 50 years old now. So yes, I'm very in favor of pension reform, and yes, I do believe that the employees should pay their own share. But we need to do something different because we need to hire younger police officers and firefighters today. One of the best things that we can do, and I think the new police chief is really doing this, he's out recruiting other police officers from other communities. And why do I think that's a great idea? Is if you can recruit a good police officer from another community, you save a lot of money. It takes almost 5 years to train a new recruit. And we really don't have 5 more years, because if I just gave you an example of a police officer who's 48, well, he was 53 in 5 years. We need to start hiring and making changes now, today, to those benefits. And we must offer incentives as well, because I realize that these men and women put their lives on the line every time they go out to protect for our city. But the fact is, we must also provide them good tools. And again, if we don't get the other part reined in, we won't be able to have the money to do that.
Okay, I served on the finance board for a couple of years, and this was the hot topic every time we talked about it. When I walked in the first time, one of the board members said, "Welcome to the Titanic. We move furniture around and play the instruments while we sing." Okay, the pensions are out of control. They're unsustainable. No matter what math you use, maybe with the new Common Core math, it works. I don't know. But there's things like, oh, well, our unfunded liabilities X amount, you know, they'll give you 50 million or 100 million. Well, that doesn't sound like a lot. That's only if everyone in the city retired today and they didn't replace them, that's how much they would owe. So that's what that number is, whether it's 3 years or they've worked for us 20 years. So yeah, something has to be done with that. Now, their compensation, they get paid a lot, but you can't have a high salary and a benefit like they have when you retire. And so one or the other. I was in the Marine Corps, and there's men retiring from the Marine Corps and women. They don't get close to this, and they do put their life on the line every day and get shot at every day. I mean, HPPD does a great job. I'm very proud of them. I think they're an excellent force. HB Fire is a great fire department. I'm glad we don't have many fires, you know. But it's something we have to look at, and that goes back to the budget, and we have to have a sustainable budget, and part of that is pension reform.
We live in a great city, and a lot of that has to do because of our police department. Our police department are paid, I think, ranked 13 right now in Orange County. And we do have pension reform. It's happening already at the state level for the new recruits that come in. Now, with the LAFL program like Mr. Barber just mentioned about, recently the Huntington Beach Police Department hired 2 new recruits who did not go through the academy at an expense to our city. It's much harder to get laterals to come to our city because of the pay. Now, a lot of other people don't understand about this pension reform, and from what I'm led to believe, when there was good years in our city, when the extra money that should have been paid into the pensions, it was not. It was diverted to other funds throughout the city. So when I talk about something, I like everything to be put on the table. So the police officers in our city forego pay raises in order to have these pensions, their pension money increased. So let's put everything on the table here. Now, moving forward, from what I'm led to believe, the city is paying down the unfunded liabilities as we go forward. So things are getting better. Do I think our police officers get paid enough? No, I don't. 3 weeks ago, we had a couple of Marines stabbed downtown. We had a police officer nearly lose his face. He avoided being stabbed in the face by a broken bottle. How many people do you know, when they put on their work clothes, go out not knowing if they're going to return? I think our police officers do a great job in our city, and I'm proud of them. And that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you. The next question came from Tom Grimes. He also asked about the excessive pay and benefits. The other part of his question, do you support the plastic bag ban?
No, I don't support it. I think sometimes council maybe has good intentions, and they'll pass an ordinance. They did this when they tried to charge everyone who got in an accident, you know, thousands of dollars for police service. Remember that a couple years ago? And what did they do? They got an earful and they said, you know what, this isn't good, let's get rid of it. Another way to do that is, you know what, if it's such a good thing, if everyone's for it, let's vote for it. You know, we did that for the senior center in the park. Same thing. You know, this is polarized so many people. It's 6 months, I still go to the store and there's always someone yelling. That, you know, what do you mean I can't get a bag? You know, they're visiting our city. We're a tourist destination. So, you know, whether you're for the actual physical plastic bag or not, they had a chance to at least put it to the people, and they failed. And I think it's going to come back and get by them.
I'm in favor of the people voting if they want it. I was very disappointed by the decision at the council last Monday night. I don't believe that from the dais that we need to have regulations put down on the people who live here. That's just a little, it's funny, it's a little example in the beginning, but I don't believe that they thought it was gonna blow up like it has. And people are mad. I was at the market, this lady was starting to yell at the cashier, and I said, excuse me, but she's not the one you should be yelling at. You need to call your council people. She didn't vote for it. So I think at the end of the day, there needs to be maybe a listening tour here again, because it is clear to me that, I don't even know if anyone's asked this question, but again, my experience going door to door and talking to people, they asked about fireworks. Quite honestly, a lot of people had voiced their opinions to me that they didn't want them. And when I went door to tour, I got a completely opposite impression. So I think when you have an issue, to Eric's point about people voting, and if you want to carry your plastic bags, go ahead and do so. But I think the way it was decided that the council was in essence pushing it down everyone's throat, it was not a good decision-making process.
It's very simple for me. People died to give us the opportunity to vote. Last Monday night, I was down at City Council where I spoke. Let the people decide, not City Council. And I would like to add something else. I think government is getting too involved in our lives. Recently, I got a letter from the city where I had some chip paint on the side of my house. And they instructed me to paint my house or they would fine me. That is a way overboard for me, folks. Government needs to take a step back, and like Mr. Peterson said earlier on, we need to get rid of some of these ordinances. They have to go. Give us back our liberty and justice.
I can't resist putting in my 2 cents here, because I was at the meeting and I tried to make a point, and I don't think I made it very well, and that is, as council members or Board of Education members or whatever the position, there are certain rules that you work within, and as long as you're working within those rules, that's why you're there. You're there to represent the citizens, whether or not to let a paving contract, whether or not to increase the size of the police force. But when you get into these issues that seem important, and gosh, we should do something about it, I think what Christie's this question about whether or not to bring the wetlands into the city. That's not in the current rules. That's the sort of issue that, in my opinion, should be put out to vote. So here's sort of a urban renewal kind of question. How would you balance the regional housing need allocation and density issue? Billy, you want to lead off?
Sure. Basically, the state has what they call RHNA, Regional Housing Assessment Needs, where a certain amount of low-income workforce housing has to be developed. So basically, I believe the city of Huntington Beach is meeting those requirements. But we haven't had any type of construction like we're having with, say, in Belterra, even though it may be a little on the high side, in the last 30 years. But we need a certain amount of growth, sustainable growth. And I do understand that it's a one-time payment. So when those type of projects are presented to me, I would like to see the pro forma. I would like to see the pro forma going out 10 or 15 years to see the projected revenue, to see the projected expenses, and see what the net impact on our community as a whole is. It's a simple, common sense approach. What I would also like to do to answer your question about the density, existing buildings, if we can add more to them, or refurbish them, or rehabilitate them to bring them up to standards, I think that's one way of making that happen.
Thank you. Mr. O'Connell's right, there are rules that we have to follow. And I was on Planning Commission when that came before us. And just like he said, I will tell you that there was a lot of thought put into that, and long-term housing. We haven't had new apartments in this community somewhere between 25 to 30 years. One of the benefits of having them in the Belterra area is the fact that it's a very northern part of our community, right next to the freeway, next to the bus lines. And one of the advantages of having them along Ettinger, again, is it brings in walkability. And we don't have a lot of housing available for youthful people to stay here. Not everyone can come into this community and buy a house for $600,000. That's what entry level is today in this neighborhood. So, I mean, in this community. So we must use common sense, and I will tell you that that the people who live in those apartments now love them, and they have gotten more rents than they originally planned on. And one of the things they love about them is they come home and they're out of their cars. So the thoughtfulness about the fact that all of those people did not have to drive through the community all the way down to the beach. And you're right, in some areas there will be more dense, but we must address that due to the fact that we are required by state law to have housing affordability, not just for workforce housing, but for low income as well.
Okay, we're required, unless we redo our housing element every 2 years, which the staff doesn't like doing. Personally, I think if we have a good city attorney, hell with their numbers. I really don't think that, the thing I love about Huntington Beach is I get out of high school and I can get an apartment, I can move into a mobile home, I can move into a condo, a single family home, then I can end up on top of Edwards Hill or down at the beach if I work hard enough. We have a nice mix. We've added up at Bellaterra, like Barbara said, it's a good area to add. They're not coming down the corridor. If we had to add, it's done. We can't do anything with it. But they plan on doing that all the way down beach. Ellison Beach is the next big hub. So, yeah, I've asked in Planning Commission, I said, okay, what happens when we run out of land? And they won't answer. These are the people that say you have to do this. You have to do this. It's the law, right? RENA numbers. If you don't, you're going to get sued by all these different people. Well, that's what our city attorney's there for. And actually, there's a law that if you don't have them in there, you have to just do your housing element a lot more often. So, you know what? I think we have enough. I don't think we need more. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want to see infill projects. I don't want to see them knocking down low density to build medium density or to build high density. I think we have, if it costs more to move here, then it costs more to move here. Our housing values go up. Supply and demand. She gets to sell houses for more. It's a good thing. So we have some good apartments. I really don't think we need many more.
Okay, thank you. Next question comes from Bill Montgomery.
Ron, before we leave that one, I heard in one of the presentations here earlier, one of our Tea Party meetings, that they allocated like 1.5 or 1.3 garages per apartment. Now, I don't know about you, but I've got 2 fake people live in my house and we've got 2 cars. Bellaterra right now, you can barely find a parking place even during the day. What they're going to do if they don't build a garage structure for that facility or any of these other facilities that they're building? Is there a requirement to do that?
Okay, so your question is, what is the requirement for garages on these new developments?
Well, one of your speakers before, a month or so ago, said it was 1.5 cars per apartment. That doesn't work. So what is the actual requirement per apartment for building those facilities?
It depends on the project. Usually it's 1.5, and what Barbara talked about with walkability, that they have other factors that they take in. That's why they lowered the car from 2 per unit to 1.5, because supposedly you're going to walk. Now, you get home from work and you walk around, that's fine, but there's no walking to work around here. So the whole walk, and there's no bikeability, there's no biking to work around here. So we're lowering. They also have something called shared parking, which is another way they can add. That's Bellaterra, where they say we need this project needs 100, this needs 100, but because of business hours, everything will do 150, and we have shared parking. So it lowers the parking, and it's actually in the plan. And to change it, we have to go into our general plan and our beach ender specific plan and all that, and change it.
Yeah, I'm going to exercise the prerogative of the chair to keep going with these questions that we have, 6 more, and then we will end the formal part of the meeting, and I'm sure that candidates would like to stand around and talk to us. I know you have some burning questions. Okay, now Barbara, would you lead off on this one?
Sure.
And then Bill? Sure. Why did the Planning Commission approve the construction of apartments for Costco? How did the Planning Commission measure the impact?
Yeah, could you repeat the question?
Why did the Planning Commission approve the construction of apartments for Costco?
Okay, that's right there. Apartments for Costco? I don't get that.
They are by Costco.
Oh, by Costco. Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you said.
Or Levitz's or the Bellaterra?
I don't know the question. Who asked the question? Maybe they could
Bill?
clarify.
Yeah. Is that right, by Costco?
Yeah, it's right by Costco, you go right down Goddard, you see all these buildings.
Yeah, those were the ones that we were just alluding to. There is a parking garage for them.
Well, I wasn't talking about the parking garage.
Okay.
It's the impact on Edinger and the other streets.
Yes, there was an EIR done.
Comes-
You betcha. There was an EIR done at the time of the, prior to construction. I'm sorry, Environmental Impact Report. That's what it stands for.
Okay, Billy, did you want to comment on that?
Well, basically, I would just add to what Barbara said. There was an EIR done which was presented before the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission voted on it, and it then went to City Council, and the City Council voted on it, and that's what the process is for that project to be built.
This goes back Beach Edinger specific plan. All the rules are there. If the developer meets the rules, they get to build. The only thing we can do is lower the density a little. But there's not a lot you can do unless you find just cause.
So they all ignored the EIR?
No, it was there. They met the EIR, and there's a thing called the in lieu fee, which means we're causing so many problems that we can't help it, so we're gonna give you a bunch of money. That was traffic impact fees. They had extra on that project.
Okay, I've got a three-part question here from Carol Redhead, but it's almost 3 different questions. I'll just take them one at a time. We'll start off with Billy this time. What is the best type of new business for the city that would not include high-rise buildings?
That would be attracting anchor stores, basically big name stores into our community. Also, supporting the existing small businesses in our community. And I'll be very upfront with you. What I would do, I would try and give incentives to businesses that are coming into our community. Basically, waive the business license fees. Anything that we could do to support them, to help them market their products. I would become a very, very friendly business city. Because at the end of the day, it's businesses that make our community work and grow.
Like I mentioned earlier, I do believe that small business is the lifeline to our community, and so I have no problem being on a task force or a marketing force to go out and encourage business here in the community. The city passed a 10-point plan a couple of years ago. And, you know, I got to tell you, there's very few people that I've heard, at least in the last couple of years, that are really excited about the way they were treated when they came to the community and opened a new business. And that has really got to change. I mean, we're not the only city here in Orange County. There's a lot of reasons why coming to Huntington Beach is a benefit. But a perfect example of running a business out, there was a situation a couple of years ago with the pet shops. And without ever helping the pet shop owner to maybe change the business model a little bit, if there was an issue with the puppies, they just shut it down. There's another regulation that came on to shut it down. So those are examples. We just need to make better business decisions, and people are going to want to knock on our door to come here and do business.
Okay, again, what's the best type of new business that would not include high-rise buildings?
No, high-rise buildings aren't a business. They're, I think what we need is, I think the medical field's a good one. I know for a fact that there's some very large companies in the surf and skate industries that want to move to Huntington Beach. but they've had some hard times with current projects they do. I attended an economic development summit the chamber put on, and a lady said it best. She said, cut the red tape and roll out the red carpet. And that's what we need to do. We can attract all sorts of business. Who knows what we can attract? Engineering companies, they always, you know, for working with Boeing, medical, like I said, on Ellis, why can't we get some, or in Maine here, why can't we get some medical going on? Those are all good, viable, good paying jobs.
Okay, next part, we'll do Barbara, then Eric, and then Billy. Can the Edinger Beach Boulevard complex traffic problems be remediated, and how? Remediated. How the heck can we clear up this mess?
Actually, I do, and I've been very passionate. I've said this from the very beginning when I served on planning. You know, the world is changing, folks. It's not just cars that get us around. We can come up with some new ways of getting around this community. And there's different ways to solve traffic problems. The other thing that's going to be happening is the 405 freeway is going to be changed, and that intersection at Edinger and Beach will be changed. The on-ramps, the off-ramps. That's been a nightmare since they opened it. It never was really planned well. I'm very passionate about wanting to have better turn lanes even. You know, have you seen people sometimes, there's enough room and they go to make a right, they just sit and they wait. I don't know about you, that drives me crazy. Because it's a great way to keep traffic flowing. And so there are studies, they are working on different things. I believe that the shopping center owner could do some things, especially around the holiday time. I noticed last year that they hired traffic people in the in Bella Patera to help people, you know, move things along. Look, we have a lot of people that live in this community, and a lot of people want to go a certain way. The other benefit sometimes about learning other ways is it spreads the traffic out. We all love being in our cars. We're going to have to create ways to get around the city. I don't know if you've been to Long Beach recently, but they have a trolley that goes around the whole city. It's very affordable, and it's very easy to get on and get off. So just, we need to think out of the box here. It doesn't have to only be the car. Thank you.
The Edinger and Beach, I think the only thing that's going to help it, like she said, was the on-ramps and off-ramps on the 405 and them fixing that. But that's Caltrans, and that's going to take a while. Yeah, now the new hotel that's going in over there, I'm sort of glad it's a hotel and not apartments. They were going to have a shuttle to shuttle their guests down Beach Boulevard and try to take away that impact. But you know, there's not a lot we can do with that unless, you know, especially you get on a Saturday and it starts at Golden West with the swap meet and all the way up, you know, Westminster Mall. That's just a horrible area, and I don't know how we're going to actually fix that intersection, but maybe we don't repeat that through the city would be the best thing.
I would agree with what Barbara and Erica said about 405. Basically, I think we should try and have the trolleys, public transportation, but also I would like to see if there's a way that we can work with Caltrans to synchronize the lights a little better. I'm sure that would have a better flow on the traffic in our city, so that's what I would suggest we do.
I'm currently serving on the Orange County Transit Authority. It's a Citizens Advisory Board. And we have a OCTA park and ride at Gothard and Center. And we've been after them for years to expand that. There is talk about them expanding it. But I've really been very vocal at these meetings because I want you to know that in a lot of these maps that they put up, Huntington Beach isn't even represented. And I will tell you at the last meeting, someone said, Barbara, every time you come to a meeting, you say that. And I said, I'm going to continue to say that every meeting I come to until I see more and better bus lines coming into this community. Look, if you don't want to drive your car, fine. That's okay. There's other options available. But they have to be options that people are going to want to use. You know, if they don't want to use the bus, but they're going to have express buses. They're going to have, and that's why I mentioned the trolleys, because some of the people, all they need to do is get around right here in the community. Other people come to work here from far away. and they need the buses. So we need more, what do they call it, express bus stops and things of that sort. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with Eric, then Billy, and then Margaret. Every year we have the annual surf contest. What steps would you take to stop the melees that are occurring every year?
You know, if they had the police force down there that we had at the Van Skateboard Park opening, we wouldn't have a problem. I mean, that was packed. There was about 3 cops per every skater, it seemed. But, no, it's police. And one thing I think that we can do, what some sister cities do, Santa Ana, Anaheim, both with big event centers, is they have a very, very strong reserve force. These people come out, these police officers, sworn officers come out, and they work the big crowd control. And the best thing about a good reserve force is, and being from the Marine Corps, we use them all the time, and we use them and abuse them. And they get used and abused, but they learn your procedures. And so when you go to hire police officers, you get the pick of the litter. You get to say, hey, you know what, this guy's been a reservist for 5 years, he wants to be a full-time cop, and he does everything that we want, and so let's hire him right from our pool. So I think there's plenty of people, there's a lot of retired officers, there's plenty of younger people that would love to take the course and do exactly what they do at a Ducks game or an Angel game or any of that. Those are all reserve officers there. So you can really, you know, we don't have to wait for the sheriffs to come here. We can actually have a force there, because honestly, we have about 3 months of craziness here. And the rest of the time, less downtown is pretty mellow. And we could, with our current staff, we could staff downtown better, or you know, maybe increase a little, but I don't think we need to have, you know, a bunch of full-time officers. I think a reserve force would be great.
All right. Actually, I would like to speak to this, and I just think the whole U.S. Open got way too big and way out of control. And we learned a very valuable lesson last summer. There wasn't enough security, and the security that we did have, the timing wasn't right, and that happens sometimes, whether maybe you're not planning correctly. I think there's been some decisions already made to scale back the size of the event this summer, and sharing services with the other cities when you have a big event. And I think it should be more go on to the, put on the entertainer that's coming in, that they provide more security. Because, you know, this is our community. For people to come in and then trash it, it's not acceptable. It is absolutely not acceptable. And I think there's a way to, Eric's point about, you know, we have these few months where people kind of go crazy. I just think it's not acceptable, and I think as we have our enforcement out, for those of you who lived in the community, I don't know, 1986, when we had all those issues downtown after the 4th of July, you know, it just took a couple of years after that of really strict enforcement, and people got the word that this was not the place to come and do that. So I just think we need to have a good way of showing that this is how we treat our community and respect it as well. Thank you.
I've heard a person say one time that a lot of the crime that is committed in our city is from people that don't even live in our city. And in addition, I got a laugh when they said a lot of people come to our city with $10 in a t-shirt and they don't change either. So what I would like to say is the organizers of these events have to be held accountable. If you want to put on an event in our city, you make sure that it's a secure event. And if you're making money, all the power to you. But you know what? You got to provide the security. Now, I believe everybody should be respected. And nothing replaces a professional law enforcement officer. And if we have to go outside the city, then I would defer to the chief of police to see if we need to bring in sheriffs for that day, outside forces, or whether it's Costa Mesa. But let the organizers that are putting it on, let them foot the bill, not the taxpayers in our community.
Okay, we're going to take 2 more questions, and then we'll have our prize for the evening, and then for the balance of the time, you can talk with the candidates. Okay, next to last question comes from Lita King, and I think she's reflecting the sentiment of a lot of you folks here tonight. It duplicates somewhat of what's been asked already, but let's hit it one more time. Can we bring in enough tax revenue for infrastructure without such dense housing? The traffic is distressing. Billy?
Simple yes, we can. Like Mr. Peterson said earlier on, high density housing, it's nice when you receive the one-time payment, but you gotta look at the pro forma. What is the 10, 15-year impact on our community? What are the revenues versus the expenses and the net impact? If it brings more taxes into our tax bases, then I'll look at it. But do I feel that small businesses, encouraging more business into our community, can meet the needs of our infrastructure? Yes. But growth is good. Growth stimulates business in our community, and everybody wins.
I don't think it just has to be done through housing. And I think this is a very serious issue that we have to look at for long-term success. And what I mean by that, look around, how many people in the last couple of years have bought a car online? Bought a car online, or have gone online and looked at, okay, one lady here in the back. We are very, very supported in our community by the Boulevard of Cars. We have 10 solid automobile dealerships. Just fast forward now, 15, 20 years. Suppose they're not there. Okay, suppose they're not there. Where's that income going to come from? So I'm not so ready to say no, yes, or yes, no to this. We have to plan better. We just have to think into the future about some of these long-term expenses. And I just use the Boulevard of Cars because they are, in a lot of ways, the lifeline of this community as far as tax dollars. And you know what? We have to be smart about it. Not everyone, they're not all going to leave, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, here we had to wait, what was it, 20 years to get a Costco? Where did everybody go? They had 40,000 members at the Fountain Valley Costco. We have to make better decisions about our tax dollars staying in Huntington Beach. Thank you.
Well, as I said before, the live units don't make us anything. They make us a one-time payment, and then after that it taxes us. More police, more fire, more infrastructure problems, more density. It's just taxing on the city. So, like Barbara said, you have the auto dealers that bring in a ton of money. You have all these small businesses, large retailers that bring in money. Our city can't be looking at the business itself as saying, okay, I can fine them for this, and I can get this fee from them, and this fee, and this fee. They have to look at the revenue these companies generate. And they have to promote. What can we do for you so you can bring in more revenue? How can we market our city so that you can bring in more revenue? Because where we make our money is the tax, the sales tax. That's where we make it with the cars, that's where we make it with everything. So again, bringing in companies that are going to sell things, companies that are going to employ high-paid salaries. Those people will live here, they'll shop here. And I think if we keep the density where it's at, the price to live here is going to go up. And, you know, we're going to attract more money in and they'll spend it locally. So I don't think building a lot of apartments is going to help us at all in the long run.
Okay, for our last question of the evening, I'm going to go in reverse alphabetical order. We do Eric, then Billy, and then Barbara. In light of the votes, of the recent votes by the City Council, how do you plan to enhance liberty in Huntington Beach?
Stay out of your way. Like I said in the beginning, we need strong public safety, we need to work on our infrastructure, we need to attract businesses, we need to maintain our open space and manage it in our parks, and then get our city services, our seniors, all that. That's the city's job. The city's job isn't to tell you what to do with your life, in your home, in your backyard, not to peek over your fence to see if you're lighting sparklers and finding you. So basically, stay out of your life and make this city great for you to live in, you to raise a family in, and you to retire in.
Less regulation. I mean, here we are again. The question was well put. That's what Monday night was all about. The way to make people love their community is that they love living here. They have the services they want. We can provide all those. But we don't, to something said earlier, it is absolutely less red tape and more red carpet. And I think the leadership in this community, especially the business leadership, has really been trying to turn that around. We've come off the worst economic downturn in my lifetime, and many of you in this room as well. I think the city can rejuvenate itself and with a better vision, create more businesses as we go forward, and it will make a difference for all of us. We can stay here, we can raise our babies here, we can retire here if we want. That's my 2 cents.
We live in a great city because of people like you. And I would strongly encourage everyone to continue to get involved, stay involved, ask the questions. Go to the city council meetings, go and vote. Government has no business in much of the things where they're trying to intrude in our lives, basically. They need to stay out of our way. Less government, more freedom. Very simple for me. And there's something else I would like to add tonight. I believe this is a very patriotic group of people. And one thing I'm a big believer in, and this may be bigger than local politics, but I believe that we should try and buy American-made products. Shop in your local community, buy American-made products, because the future is going to be challenging for our young people. We have taken a free market and given it to communist China. We're destroying our free market. And how we change that at a local level is to go out and buy American-made products. Very simple. It can start locally and we can make a huge change for this country.
In the Orange County Register, in the local section on Friday, there was an announcement about this meeting. How many of you saw it?
I have it in my purse.
Hey, great. Well, those announcements get there because of our public relations chairman, who also manages our prize for the evening, Mary J. Digby.